What's up, everyone? I'm Taylor Thrasher. Right now, we're going to answer the questions that I got asked on Instagram that I promised you guys answers for here in longer format almost a week ago. I've got them all screenshotted here. Like I said, not everybody's question is going to get an answer, but we'll get to most of these. So, number one, push-pull leg split. Body wants to take rest days. Mind needs to hit the gym daily to regulate stress. Tips. Push-pull legs. He's talking about push-pull legs, rest, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, push-pull legs. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, push-pull legs. Sunday as a rest day. That's what I'm assuming, because that's what I run. That's what most people run. Body wants to take rest days. Everybody's body wants to take rest days. Try to improve your sleep. Make sure that your nutrition is on point, and just hit the gym, dude. I mean, you might have to add a little extra calories some days. You might have to add extra caffeine. You may have to take a day off here and there. I've talked about how important rest is in comparison to training. Like Stan Efferding put it this way: if you're getting up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to do fasted cardio after sleeping for 4 hours, you're stepping over dollar bills to pick up pennies. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. But then again, if you've got goals, you got to hit them, you know? So I say train. I say train for the most part. Try to optimize sleep, optimize your recovery, make sure your nutrition's on point. That's going to help a lot. But just go to the freaking gym. Tips for the final 10 to 20 pounds of fat loss at the end of a roughly 100-pound fat loss journey. It's getting rough, LOL. Number one, congratulations on nearly 100 pounds of fat loss. That's awesome. The last 10 to 20 pounds, that's the hardest part. So if you've lost 100 pounds already, what I would recommend doing is just finding your maintenance level of calories and staying there for a little while. There's a lot of stress that comes along with being in a calorie deficit and putting your body through that. Cortisol levels can go up. That's your stress hormone, which makes it harder to lose body fat. I would say experiment, find where your maintenance calories are. And the way I would do that is track everything that you're eating, eat the way that you're eating. I don't know if let's just say you're eating 2,000 calories. Add 100 calories a day in and keep your activity level the same. Weigh yourself every day for a week. Which way is the scale trending? You know, if it's still staying the same, add another 100 calories. Do it again for another week. Once the scale starts tipping and you start putting on weight, then back off 100 calories and then get it to where the scale is staying the same again. Because you can stall out in that deficit, right? Now, without dragging yourself down to like 1,500 calories a day, which would be another way that you could kickstart it. You could fast to kickstart it. I would find your maintenance level, stay there for a little while, and then go for another significant drop. You can probably eat more calories than you think you can based on where your maintenance level's at and where you're currently eating. That's what I would do. And then make sure that you're tracking your macros. Make sure you're not only looking at calories, because macros play a bigger role than the calories do. We'll just put it that way. Okay, somebody also asked, what were your lowest calories the last time you cut? So the last time I cut, last year over the summer, the lowest my calories ever got was 2,000. And that's kind of a lie, because I set them at 2,000, and mentally it was pretty much, I'm not going to use the word impossible, but it was really freaking hard for me to do that. I couldn't walk past, my kitchen's over there. I couldn't walk past one of the kids' grilled cheeses or quesadillas or whatever they were eating for a snack or for dinner. Couldn't walk past it without taking a bite. I was so hungry and like just mentally driven by food at that 2,000 calorie number. I wasn't able to hit it perfectly at any point. That being said, 2,400 calories was like perfect. I got so lean on 2,400 calories. I wasn't doing insane amounts of cardio. I was lifting 6 days a week, eating the 2,400. It was a 40, 35, 25 macro split. And yeah, that was like primo. But anytime I tried to go below that mentally, I started to break. but I really didn't need to. If I was competing for a show or something like that, sure, I could have dragged myself through the weeds and gone down to 2,000, 1,900, whatever. But I think part of the reason it was hard for me to do it is because I was like, what am I doing this for? You know, I'm already lean, I'm already jacked, I was already looking good. I really didn't have any greater purpose going below 2,400 calories a day. So to answer your question, short and sweet, 2,000. This dude, how did you find out you have gynocemastia, and is the surgery necessary? He also said, thanks for talking about things most dudes aren't talking about. You're welcome. Most dudes aren't dealing with gynecomastia, so maybe that's the reason. The way I found it, literally this is the way that I found it. It was June of 2023. I was outside, I was barbecuing, and for some reason that year summer came a little bit late, so it was getting brisk. It was, you know, whatever time in the afternoon, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. And I went like this, like, oof, I'm feeling kind of cold, and went to cross my arms, and my hand brushed my nipple on this side. That's what happened. And I was like, that sticks out a little bit further than normal. And I kind of rubbed it, and it was like way sticking out, and I pinched it, and that's when I felt there's like a little bouncy ball like right behind my nipple on that right side. I had never felt it before. I don't know exactly where it came from, but yeah, June of 23 is when I found it. And here it is, Monday, August 26th, 2024. I called the doctors very soon after. That is how long I've been dealing with the United States of America healthcare system and trying to get this thing dealt with, over a year. And my surgery date, it's Monday today. My surgery date is Thursday. So finally getting it cut out. Is surgery necessary? No, surgery is not necessary. I am electing to do the surgery because it makes me really self-conscious. There's a lot of video clips that I've had that I've recorded that I've deleted, that I didn't post. There's pictures that I haven't posted. There's angles that there's positions I try not to put my body in because it makes it a lot more obvious. And I think I've likened it to a pimple on your nose, where you think you just have this big, huge goiter that's sticking out to the moon, and everybody's probably looking at you from across the street like, oh my God, look at that guy. But then you bring it up and they're like, oh my God, I didn't even notice. It's kind of what it's like. Most people don't notice. There's a couple people on Instagram that have pointed it out. Some a little bit nicer than others. But it's more just for me. It makes me really self-conscious, so I'm choosing to get it cut out of there. Also, insurance covered it, so that kind of helped aid the decision, made it pretty easy. But yeah, it's just gynecomastia is the enlargement of the male breast tissue. So there's a gland in there. For some reason, your hormones get out of whack. It can happen from puberty. It can happen from anabolic steroid use without the proper, checking of the hormones and controlling the estrogen levels. And then it can also just happen, they don't know why. I attribute it maybe to some of the pro hormones I took a couple years ago, 7, 8 years ago. But I think it's weird that I only found it last year. I would think that I would have found it a long time before that. But anyways, getting rid of that sucker because it makes me self-conscious. It's not dangerous. It's not cancerous. Surgery isn't necessary. They say it might even go away on its own, but I'm not trying to wait around and find out, since basically my job now is to have my shirt off and go, and it pokes out. Monday through Sunday, what is your routine at the gym? Chest try, back by, etc. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a modified bro split. So when I go to the gym, it's typically chest, back, quads, shoulders, arms, hamstrings. So a bro split would be like chest, back, legs, arms, shoulders, something like that. I'm doing 2 leg days a week, splitting it into quads and hamstrings so I can focus on the front half of the leg, or it's glutes and hamstrings, or the back half of the leg. And it doesn't always fall on like chest day Monday, leg day Wednesday. But the reason it switches around is because I train with my coach on Tuesdays at the gym, And so I like to switch it up with him. Sometimes we'll train legs, sometimes we'll train back, sometimes we'll do shoulders. So it really depends on what my Tuesday looks like, and then the whole rest of the week falls into place. That is I call it a modified bro split. Bro split with 2 leg days split into quads and then glutes and hams. I've had a lot of questions about my motorcycle that I recently got back. That is actually going to be a separate video. We'll go over everything. We'll go over everything I've done to it, what year it is, what model it is. I'll show you guys some cool little custom parts I have on there, maybe some riding clips. There's gonna be a whole nother movie about my bike, so don't worry about that right now. Your questions will be answered soon. Macro timing around workouts. So it's pretty simple. Pre-workout, you want to have some protein in your system for the most part. You want to have some carbs. The carbohydrates are going to give you that little insulin spike. It's going to fill up your glycogen stores. That way, when you train, you've got something to burn. You get a sweet pump, and you've got a good amount of energy from that food for your workout. Post-workout, you also want to have protein and carbs. You want to avoid fat. Now, this isn't the be-all, end-all. I know a lot of guys, I've done it myself, you eat eggs or some ground beef or something like that after a workout. It's not going to kill you, but optimally, it would be straight protein and a quick digesting protein and a quick digesting carb. That way, when your body's like really primed to uptake nutrients and start repairing, it gets a quick protein source, a quick carb source to replenish everything. And then a couple hours later, you can have your fattier meals, your beef, eggs, avocado, things like that. But I definitely wouldn't sit down to like some buttered avocado toast and a ribeye steak after a workout. It's not going to be optimal. Go-to workouts for triceps. I keep everything that I do pretty, what would you call it, standard. Some really good ones that I've found, they're just normal stuff usually for triceps, but some form variations. So if you get the cable press down, you throw like a V handle on it, you throw ropes on it, something like that. You can get over your head. When you come back, really let your elbow come up high and stretch so that you get your tricep to stretch all the way back to its insertion point, wherever it inserts back in here. And then, lean forward like you're leaning on the rope, you know what I mean? And press all the way out. Let it come back, elbows come up. That's a really good one. You can do that single arm. Another really good one is single arm behind the head, and same kind of thing. You can feel it stretch, and then when you come out, just make sure that you're getting your elbow all the way locked out, getting that full range of motion. But I'll just do basic press downs, same thing with the straight bar on the cables. When you're doing those, really lean on it to where like if somebody pulled it out from you, like you would fall over. So you're not just standing there pushing down, you're leaning forward and putting some pressure on it. Other than that, there's an old school Nautilus machine that we have, which is kind of a behind the head, tricep deal. I don't do a ton with dumbbells. I feel like I get a better connection and a better squeeze with cables or a machine, but they're all pretty basic. It's more just how you do it, how you go about doing it. Free weights versus cables or machines. I like both. Love dumbbells. Not a ton for triceps, like I just said, but I love dumbbell workouts. I don't do a ton of barbell anymore. That being said, I believe that barbell and dumbbell workouts completely built my foundation, but that's not to say that they're the be-all, end-all. I think they're important. I always recommend them to beginners. A lot of my clients are doing dumbbell and barbell workouts with free weight, doing squats, doing deadlifts, doing bent over rows, things like that. I think that those are important. They're good mass builders. They're the heavy compound movements. You can load them up. But there's a lot to be said for some of these machines, especially if you go to a real legit bodybuilding gym and they've got these different kinds of machines. They're built the way they're built for a reason. They really work. They're great for isolation, right? There's, I'm not going to say scientists, but they really study what part of the muscle is targeted. They study the angles of the machines. The machines are really useful. I use mostly machines. My coach has me using mostly machines. A lot of the bodybuilders that are winning competitions that go to my gym are using mostly machines. I think there's a reason for that. So I think they're both super important. I think whatever works good for you too. Like, I never got a lot of chest development doing a barbell bench press. I always did way better with dumbbells, and now that I'm using mostly machines, you really can get in there and target the different areas. You can get a good squeeze. You get, constant resistance the whole time. And then after my shoulder injury, that was the best way for me to do it anyways. So it's up to you. But I definitely wouldn't downplay the importance of cables or machines. There's a lot of people that like to do that. Oh, it's got to be free weights. Not necessarily. If you're going for strength, purely for strength, then absolutely free weights are the way to go, 100%. What are the keys to building a solid workout program? Number one, targeting all the different muscle groups. That's really important. You want to be hitting all the muscle groups minimum once a week, optimally, arguably twice a week. I've seen a lot of my best results and my clients' best results training muscle groups twice a week. Just making sure, you're hitting the front delt, the side delt, the rear delt, the trap, both heads of the bicep by throwing in different exercises, all three heads of the tricep, getting full leg workouts, having some glute stuff. That's something that some of my workout programs maybe lack, is some of the glute exercises versus just the quads, hamstrings, and calves, because the glutes are foundational. You need those for your whole posterior chain from your neck, back, glutes, hamstrings, calves, ankles. They're all connected, and your glutes will really help alleviate back pain. They'll give you stronger lifts, like your squat will get stronger, your deadlift will get stronger if your glutes are strong and engaged. And then just having good solid rep ranges for the goal of the person doing the exercises. So I don't use a ton of 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 or even 3 to 8 rep ranges, because most of my people aren't going strictly for strength. That's more of a strength rep range. I'll shoot for 8 to 10, 8 to 15, 8 to 20 even, because volume is really good for the size development of the muscle. But then too, you want fatigue, you want to lose some weight, get the volume in there. You're going to burn a lot of fat that way. How's the TRT going? And any recommendation for a fellow SoCalian as far as places to go? Places to go. I didn't get my blood work done through them, but you can. I started with someone else and then I switched. Helix HRT. They're out of Las Vegas. They'll do everything for you. They'll send you the information to get your blood work done. They'll set you up with a lab to go get it drawn and tested close to where you live. You get on the phone with them. They ask you a couple of questions, figure out where you're at. You could basically tell them, look, my testosterone level was this based on the blood work. I would like to get on some TRT. They'll ask you questions like, are you trying to have more kids? You could say yes or no. So they might run you on HRT so that your sperm count stays elevated so that you can have kids. And they've got a whole lot of other stuff too. Peptides. They've got other injectable, what would you call them? Hormones. They'll take care of you. Helix HRT. What would be your advice for someone trying to get into Local 12? Someone trying to get into Local 12, it depends on your experience level. So if you're inexperienced, your best course of action is going to be one of two things. Number one, wait for the apprenticeship to open up, hop into Local 12's apprenticeship program, run it. You're going to be an apprentice for 4 years. You're going to be underpaid. Your insurance isn't going to be full. You're not going to get the full medical, dental, blah, blah, blah package that a journeyman would get. I don't believe when you're an apprentice that you're paying into any kind of pension. You could go that way, or you could do what I did, which is I worked non-union until I had enough education, experience, confidence to where I was like, yeah, I'm good enough. And then what you do is you go down to the union hall, you put your name on the C list, is what they call it. And then once they go through their A list of operators, members, they can't find anybody to fill a position for a contractor, they'll go through their B list. And then if they can't find someone on their internal membership lists to fill an order for a contractor, they'll go to the C list, which is full of names of non-union guys. They'll call you up. That's how I got called out. They'll call you up. You'll get dispatched to a job. You have to make it 8 days without getting fired. If If you can make it 8 days for that contractor without getting fired, boom, you're automatically in. They'll put you on the B list. You got to go pay like $1,000. You got to pay some dues. You got to fill out some paperwork. You have to meet with a union rep, but basically you're in at that point. That's what I would do. I would get some operating experience, because you could probably, if you've got zero operating experience, it might take you a little bit longer, but somebody with some kind of operating experience, go find a local grading company, underground company, go work there for a couple years, beg, borrow, and steal. Get on the equipment any chance you get. Hey, I'll stay late. I'll come in early. I'll work through lunch. Whatever it is to get the operating experience. And don't just worry about the operating experience. Pay attention to the whole job site. Make sure you understand how things work. Be very observant. Ask a lot of questions. And then try to get into Local 12 on the C list. Otherwise, you can join the apprenticeship and wait your couple of years. Take your licks. Pay your dues. Is what it is, but that's what I would do. This one says, how's the TRT experiment going for you so far? So far, it's going good. So I've been on TRT for 4 weeks. I've done, 7 injections. So maybe this is my 4th week. I think I've done 7 injections. Nobody told me about the knots I was going to get on my butt or on my shoulder from where you have to inject that stuff. That's one of the bigger bummers. I had a knot the size of a golf ball in each of my butt cheeks for a while. That's a bummer. I still feel, I don't know if it's fully kicked in yet. I still feel kind of tired. I'm feeling a little bit better in the gym. No crazy strength gains, no crazy pump gains. Energy levels throughout the day is pretty normal, which for me was low. I don't feel like I need a nap halfway through the day anymore though, so that's good. I would be sitting at my desk just nodding off, eyes were crossing for a while. I don't have that. I almost feel like I'm starting to see it though. There's almost that look. Dudes that are on some testosterone, they almost have that look in their upper chest and shoulder trap region. Their skin almost starts to look a little bit different. Every night when I brush my teeth, I'm kind of I feel like I see something. But yeah, like I said, barely 4 weeks in. I give it another 4 weeks before I'm really feeling everything. And then another 4 weeks after that, 12 weeks, I'll get my blood work done again and see where my levels are at. But so far, so good on the TRT experiment. Thanks for asking. Do you eat the same amount of food each day? Carbs, fats, protein, or do you carb cycle? For the most part, I eat the same things every day, right? Same meals, same meal plan, with some minor variations. I do, however, have an off day meal plan. So when I'm not training, it's a little bit less carbs, a little bit more fat. Protein is still super high, but I'm not doing your typical carb cycle, which you're probably referring to, which would be 2 high days and then a medium day and then 3 low days and then a high day. I'm not doing any of that. I keep it pretty even keel, and I find that works really well for me. A couple of times I've tried to carb cycle before trips or vacations or whatever, and what ends up happening, babe? My stomach hurts. Every time. I get bloated, I get gassy. It doesn't work. It's better for me to just eat the same things every day. Is starvation mode real when it comes to losing fat? I'm going to go ahead and say yeah. I don't know if your body's actually in some kind of starvation mode. I think it more has to do with your insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity level. But there's a lot of people that I've talked to. I mean, in the realm of clinically obese that eat 1 or 2 meals a day and not an exorbitant amount of calories. Now, they may have gotten there from overeating calories, but now they're maintaining it. Some of them eating 800 calories a day. And we're talking full-grown men that weigh, almost 400 pounds. The problem is they're not eating enough protein. And then because they're dealing with insulin resistance, any of the energy sources, especially carbohydrates that they're eating, their body's just uptaking that and storing it immediately as excess body fat. I usually, with those people, I'll end up feeding them a high protein diet, not a lot of carbs. We usually back the carbs either all the way off, or they'll be eating meat and fruit. They'll be eating more often throughout the day to kind of speed their metabolism up, because most of these people's metabolisms are just barely cranking. So we'll eat more often, small meals, high protein, low carb. That's how I start to kill starvation mode for the majority of people. Can you wheelie that Harley? The other day I got it up like not that good. My other bike was a lot easier, not this one. Supplements, are they worth it? It's debatable. I don't know. I haven't taken a single supplement for the last 2 weeks because of my surgery coming up. My workouts have been fine. I feel like my recovery has been fine. I don't think I look a ton different. But then again, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. My coach has me taking supplements. Every bodybuilder that's ever won a bodybuilding show, I believe, has taken supplements in some way, shape, or form. I think to a degree they're worth it. Are they 100% absolutely super duper necessary? No. But is it fun going into the gym with 6 grams of citrulline and 300 milligrams of caffeine in you? Abso-freaking-lutely. Love it. I like them. Protein goals with differences between men and women, differences on training days. Everybody should be eating a gram per pound of lean body mass. Now, some people would tell you that it's a gram per pound of body weight, but if you have a woman that's 5'2", 200 pounds, she does not need 200 grams of protein a day, straight up, because she's not trying to maintain a 200-pound frame. A man, however, that's trying to go from 250 pounds to 200 pounds, he should be eating at least 200 grams of protein a day. Can you eat more? Absolutely. I was weighing 195 pounds last year, eating 240 grams of protein a day. I was totally fine. Did I need that much? Maybe not. But based on how muscular I was, I should not have been eating less than that, I don't believe. So differences between men and women. Everybody needs a lot of protein. I would say the difference is more young and old. Younger people don't need as much protein. Older people need a lot more protein. I would say for the most part, men and women are very under-proteined based on the thousands of people that I've talked to. Majority of people not eating enough protein. This one's about macros. On a 40-40-20 macro split, do your individual meals have to be split like that? Absolutely not. No. If you have a macro split, as long as you're hitting those macros by the end of the day, you're solid. So this person's asking basically, do you have to have 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fat per meal? No. Like what I'll do is my pre-workout meal is generally super low in fat. My post-workout meal, generally super low in fat. I'll eat my fats later on in the day. Majority of meals are pretty high in protein. Sometimes before or after the gym, it'll be a little bit less. It'll just be a shake. It won't be some 40 or 50 grams. It might only be 25 grams of protein. And then once again, later on in the day, it can be 8 ounces of meat or something like that to get a little bit more protein in at once so that I can stay satiated later in the day, because that's when people tend to get more snacky. But no, don't worry about splitting your meals up exactly into those macro ratios. That would be crazy. Is the meal plan recipes super easy like GB&R? If you're talking about the $20 meal plan that I have in my Instagram bio, then yes. And it's not even recipes, it's literally just a meal plan. So it's going to tell you, what is it? Half a cup of oats, 1 scoop of protein in the morning before your workout. That's meal 1, for example. I'm not remembering exactly right now what's on there. And then lunch, one of your midday meals might be 6 ounces of chicken, 1 cup of rice, half a cup of vegetables, something like that. That is what that meal plan is going to have. And I guarantee if you stick to it, you're going to see results. That is pretty much it. We got to almost everybody's question. There's just a couple of things like tennis elbow. I've never dealt with tennis elbow. I don't know what to tell you, bro. A couple of these other questions I'm not trying to get into. And then a couple of these other ones are about the Harley, which, like I said, are going to be a totally separate video. This was an experimental thing. So if you made it to this point in the video right now, give it a like, drop me a comment, let me know that you made it if you want to see more videos like this. If you don't like it, but still drop me a comment and be like, we prefer your other content better. If you want me to do both, if you want me to do more videos like this, but focus on the other stuff, just tell me what you think. Like I said, this was experimental. I know sometimes on Instagram it's hard to really get into the weeds on some of those questions, so I thought this might be helpful. You guys might not like it. I'm going to be honest with you. It took me a long time to get around to this. So it may not even be on the table in the future. But if you loved it, if you want more of it, drop me a comment. Let me know that so that I know, okay, this is valuable. If not, see you on the next episode of GBNR or something like that. I'm Taylor Thrasher. Thanks for watching.